Hello, this is the founder of the Hello Kitty Militia Facebook page. I did a video a little bit ago. I didn't realize that I can't do one that long because Facebook and YouTube wouldn't upload it. I'm like, okay, I gotta do this all over again. Anyway, the reason I'm making this, I'll try to make it a lot shorter. In recent years, for a number of years now, we've been hearing about all these school shootings, mass shootings. People look like they're zoned out on something, and they're going shooting up a schoolyard. They're shooting up a movie theater. They're shooting up whatever. And so you're like, why is this happening? Of course, the anti-gun people, mostly libtards, as I call them. They're like, take the guns, take the guns, take the guns. You got people like Dianne Feinstein, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn in your weapons. Sorry, not going to happen. Why do you want our guns so bad? Well, back in 1991, there was a book published by a guy who was a former naval intelligence officer. It was called Behold, a Pale Horse by William Cooper. It was copyright 1991. I'm going to read you something. Now remember, this was 1991 when this was copyrighted. This is what Mr. Cooper said. And by the way, not long after this book was published, he got killed by the police. The government encouraged the manufacture and importation of military firearms for the criminals' use. This is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity which would lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms. Using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion, the CIA inculcated the desire in these people to open fire on schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway, and so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. Author's note: I have found that these events have indeed happened all over the country. In every instance that I have investigated, the incident at the women's school in Canada, the shopping center incident in Canada, the Stockton, California massacre, and the murder of Rabbi Meir Kahane, all the shooters were all ex-mental patients or were current mental patients who were all on the drug Prozac. This drug, when taken in certain doses, increases the serotonin level in the patient, causing extreme violence. Couple that with the post-hypnotic suggestion or control through an electric brain implant or microwave or ELF intrusion, and you get mass murder, ending in every case with the suicide of the perpetrator. Exhume the bodies of the murderers and check for a brain implant. I think you are going to be surprised. In every case, the name of the murderer's doctor or mental treatment facility has been withheld. I believe we will be able to establish intelligent community connections and or connections to known CIA experimental mind control programs when we finally discover who these doctors of death really are. Due to the wave of crime sweeping the nation, the media will convince the American people that a state of anarchy exists within the major cities. They are now building their case almost nightly on TV and daily in the newspapers. When public opinion has been won to this idea, they intend to state that a terrorist group armed with a nuclear weapon has entered the United States, and they plan to detonate this device in one of our cities. That's been rumored for years. This is now being set up by the crisis in the Middle East. The government will then suspend the Constitution and declare martial law. How many times have we been hearing that lately? The secret alien army of implanted humans and all dissidents, which translates into anyone they choose, will be rounded up and placed in the 1 mile square concentration camps which already exist. FEMA camps. Are the people whom they intend to place in these concentration camps destined to make up the reported batch consignments of slave labor needed by the space colonies. The media, radio, TV, newspapers, and computer networks will be nationalized and seized. Which executive order is that? Anyone who resists will be taken or killed. The entire operation was rehearsed by the government and military in 1984 under the code name REX-84A, and it went off without a hitch. When these events have transpired, the secret government and or alien takeover will be complete. Your freedom will never be returned, and you will live in slavery for the remainder of your life. You had better wake up, and you had better do it now. Mr. Krupa wrote that, published that, copyrighted back in 1991. I can show you newspapers in our time. This is 2013. This is actually Christmas Day, 2013. And I can show you newspapers prior to this, just this year alone, and even 2012, 2011, going back. And I can show you headlines in everyday newspapers where it said, shooter heard voices. Voices told shooter to shoot people. And after the shooter did the shooting, the voices went away. That was the case several years ago in Ohio. Guy shooting up people on the highway because the voices wouldn't leave him alone until after he did the shooting. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's all been planned. And you got people like Dianne Feinstein saying, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn in your guns. Why should I turn in my guns? Why is it Mr. and Mrs. America, turn in your guns? Why isn't it, hey homeboy, hey pants on the ground, hey gangsta, turn in your guns? Do you think homeboy's going to listen to him? You think homeboy's going to turn in their guns? No, it's Mr. and Mrs. America. Mr. and Mrs. Law-abiding, tax-paying, get up, go to work every day, pay your bills, pay your rent, pay your mortgage. You know, you run a business, you're in a trade skill. We want you, the law-abiding citizens, to turn in your guns. You know the gangs ain't going to listen to you. It's all been planned. And as I read to you, that was written back in 1991. These school shootings, like the one in Stockton Schoolyard Massacre back in 1989, Patrick Purdy, oh yeah, zoned out look on his face after he shot the kids, turned the gun on himself, and then lo and behold, what was there? Over by the fence watching. Two guys in dark suits and shades. After he turned the gun on himself, they walked back to their black sedan, got it, and drove off. Yeah, they were there to make sure that he finished the job. Finished the job meant he killed himself. Because like this Aurora shooter, the guy looks like he's zoned out on something. You ever notice so many of these school shootings or these movie theater shootings, all these mass shootings? The guy is either mental patient, ex-mental patient, he's on some kind of medicine, and he's just like zoned out, whacked out. Yeah, because he's programmed. He's a mind control subject, and he's got some doctor telling him what to do through an implant in his brain. Now, I kind of went a little too long last time, and I can't upload the 27-minute video I have, so I'm going to cut this a little short. But the book is Behold the Pale Horse. It's by William Cooper, and the part I read to you, that is in chapter 12, that is page 225 and 226. That's where you will find it. Therefore, you can read it for yourself. It's there. And I'll talk to you again, and I'll tell you more.